Sayyidina Muhammad. Thank you so much, Honorable Chairman Sahab. Today, on this very important day of solidarity with the people of Kashmir for their freedom struggle, we from the Senate of Pakistan want to raise a unanimous voice, not only for the people of Kashmir, but for the whole world where there's oppression and where people are killed and maimed. As Allah the Almighty says in Quran, in Surah An-Nasr, with your allowance, I'll read from it. إِذَا جَاءَ نَصْرُ اللَّهِ وَالْفَتْحِ O Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, when there comes Allah's help and the victory, وَرَأَيْتَ النَّاسَ يَدْخُلُونَ فِي دِينِ اللَّهِ أَفْوَاجًا, and you see people entering Allah's approved religion in multitudes, فَسَبِّحْ بِحَمْدِ رَبِّكَ وَاسْتَغْفِرْهُ إِنَّهُ كَانَ تَوَّابًا, then pronounce the purity and praise of your Lord and seek forgiveness from Him. Surely He is ever relenting. Mr. Chairman, I want to assure the people of Indian occupied Kashmir that inshallah they'll see the light of freedom, and they'll see it soon inshallah. The history of humankind is replete with this one example, time and again, for thousands and hundreds of years, that without people's will, you can't suppress them forever. And the freedom struggle of the Kashmiris is one of the oldest freedom struggle in the history of mankind in recent times. In our holy country, our homeland, Pakistan, we got our independence in 1947 on 14th of August. And the biggest hypocrisy in the name of democracy in the world, which is India, got its independence on the 15th of August 1947, Mr. Chairman. But the freedom struggle of Kashmiris is going on since 1929. It was the freedom struggle of Kashmiris against the oppression and occupation at that times of United Kingdom and now of India, which was the catalyst of the freedom struggle of Pakistan. My Honorable Chairman, Senate, sitting here in the House of Federation, we have seen many a nights when the women and children in the occupied Kashmir, they pray for the light of the dawn, because in the darkness of the night, when the Gundas in the uniform of Indian military, pumped with the hate of RSS theology, which is the modern day significance of Nazism, of Adolf Hitler, whose equal in the modern times is Mr. Narendra Modi. When those Gundas come in the night, they don't come just to terrorize people. They use rape as a weapon of war. When they rape an 85-year-old old woman in front of her children and grandchildren, and when they rape a young girl in her teens in front of her father and grandfather, the message which they want to give to the people of Kashmir is they want to use rape as an oppression, as a tool of war. At the same time, they're using apartheid. At the same time, they are using demographic change. On the 5th of August 2019, when they change Article 370 and 35A against their own constitution, the basic purpose of that was to change the demographics of the Indian occupied Kashmir. We strongly denounce that act. And we want to remind the world that this is one of the greatest burden on the collective conscience of the world, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Chairman, sir. This is an unfinished agenda which is lying on the mind and conscience of the world, and especially United Nations. Anybody who stands on international forums and talks about humanity and human rights and not talking about Kashmir, allow me to say that it will be a sort of hypocrisy. And when the Indians are using these might, and when they are using these tools of war, of genocide and mass killings and mass rapes, What is the answer of the Kashmiris to them? The answer of the Kashmiris to them is an 80-year-old man who died in incarceration in the form of Baba Hurriyat, Mr. Ali Gilani late, when he said that hum Pakistani hai and Pakistan hamara hai. Can you expect somebody who is fragile and weak, 85-year-old man, incapacitated in an atrocious Indian jails, and he's calling them from the Kashmiri soil to his occupiers that we Kashmiris are Pakistanis and Pakistan is ours. And he was saying this and he went to his grave. An unfinished agenda, Mr. Chairman, of the world, when the Indian leadership, they themselves went, Mr. Nehru himself went to United Nations and he pledged in front of the Committee of the Nations that they, the Indian state, will make sure that they will commence plebiscite and they will let the Kashmiris decide with the power of ballot with which country they want to go, India or Pakistan. But Mr. Chairman, this is not about a dispute between two nuclear armed states. It's a human right issue. It's an issue of humanity. It's an issue of where humans are being killed and maimed and raped. And the answer of the Kashmiris to this Indian oppression is in the form of Mr. Riaz Naiku. It is in the form of Burhan Muzaffar Wani. When the world is not giving them the right of plebiscite and a ballot box, their grave is becoming their ballot box. And when the coffins are wrapped in the national flag of Pakistan, and when the Kashmiris are getting martyred and being buried, they're being themselves with their own sweet will, they're being wrapped not in white coffins but in Pakistani flag. Their grave is their ballot box, the Pakistani flag is their ballot paper. They're deciding, each and every Kashmiri in the Indian occupied Kashmir is deciding each day, each night, that they don't want to live with the Indians. They want to live a free life. And what to say if I don't remind this august house and the world, with your allowance, with the founder of the nation, when he said in 1938, way before Pakistan got its independence, way before we got our Pakistan resolution passed in 1914 Lahore, in 1938 he said a few words which are sufficient for anybody who wants to believe in humanity and who wants to get an understanding of whom Pakistanis are and whom Muslims are. When Qaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah in 1938 in United India, before partition, he said, a Muslim is not born to give up. A Muslim is not born to give up. If he is forced to be enslaved, he will become Babur or he will emerge as Sultan Tipu. He can happily embrace martyrdom, but he will never accept slavery. So that is the message which the Kashmiris has given to the world, that they will never accept slavery. The young men, boys and girls, they're coming up in arms, which is their due right. Self-indigenous movement of freedom is going on there. At one side they're using pen, they're using mic, they're making their political endeavors, but at the same time their youth are coming up in arms against the Indian oppression, which is their due right. But what to say of the world? The world has to do its duty. Pakistan is playing its part. The Prime Minister of Pakistan, just 2-3 minutes, sir. The Prime Minister of Pakistan, he stood on the soil of Kashmir, in front of the Constituent Assembly, in the base camp of Kashmiri freedom, that is Azad Jammu and Kashmir. Pakistani Prime Minister vowed and promised in front of the Kashmiri people that I will become the ambassador of Kashmir. And he proved that when he went to UNGA. And inshallah, as we had seen the Prime Minister of Pakistan raising his voice for the Kashmiris and the Palestinians in the recently held OIC conference, now in the next conference, inshallah, we'll make sure that this issue is taken up with loud and clear message to the world forums and to the Indian occupied forces, that not only Pakistan but the whole Muslim Ummah is standing up upright with the people of Kashmir, inshallah al-Aziz.
Thank you, sir.